now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm WX4PCS, WQZD787. As you can see here, I'm in a pole barn building. But what I want to show you today, as you can hear in the background, I got a cooling fan running on a radio rig that I'm about to show you. And this particular radio rig, I may have to make a second part to this video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to y'all what amateur radio is and one of the ways that you can make an actual repeater with a single radio using two different bands. Use one band to receive and use one band to transmit. You could also use this as both bands transmit and receive. The terminology word for this is crossband repeat. A lot of you probably don't understand that terminology, but this is something that is very well used in the amateur radio community. And it's only legal in the amateur radio community as well. You're not allowed to do it anywhere else but amateur radio, which is ham radio. Why they call it amateur radio is because we're licensed radio operators and they wanted a fancy name for it. That's all it boils down to. Because they didn't want to say, ham all the time. So they made it amateur to give it a more of a upbeat name. And yes, I'm standing on a ladder because my radio equipment is kind of lifted up. I had to lift my radio equipment up so it wouldn't be in the way of everything. So, anyway, I'm going to show you this right here, and I'm fixing to basically pause it and see if I can turn this camera around so you can see what I'm doing. Because I need to be looking at the screen too to see if I'm actually showing you what I need to be showing you. Okay, y'all, I was not able to turn the screen around, but I'm going to show you this. Don't pay no attention to this right here, ROIP for Zello Crosslink. That's a whole nother ball game. I actually used this box for that to put an HT radio in, handheld radio. So I just basically converted it into a cooling system for my rig here, even though this rig has a fan in the back as well. And right here to the side is a speaker, is what this is. But what I'm going to show you is how to do crossband repeat. Now this thing is already in crossband repeat mode. So I've got this on 146.520, which is the international 2-meter simplex calling frequency used for short-term communications to make contacts with other amateur radio operators. The other side is a coordinated repeater that is in my coordination of WX4PCS through the Sarah Coordination Corporation, Southeastern Link Repeater Association. Now this particular crossband system I've got here is a demonstration. I'm not leaving this on all the time. This is just a demonstration. So what I'm going to show you is, since I am coordinated for 443-100 with a positive offset up to 448-100 coming into it, it goes out in this term 146-520 or whatever other simplex 2-meter frequency I decide to go with. Now I'm going to show you this here. See, there's the 146-520. There's 448-100. Why is it set this way? The reason why it is set this way is because the receive of the repeater is 448-100. When you talk to a repeater, when you hit that offset transmit, it transmits up to the input frequency. Well, this is the input frequency for the repeater. So it can listen on this frequency for transmitting services to come over here to key up the 146-520. And that is very, very common in most 70 centimeter repeaters to be 5 megahertz offset. If it's not a 5 megahertz offset repeater, then you've got some weird something going on. Even in public safety, it's 5 megahertz. Even in business communication radios, it's 5 megahertz. But if you got some weird something going on, you're either talking to a satellite or you got some weird simplex, half duplex, something or another going on. and that's not really kosher. So it's not really something you should do. So, and like I said, this right here is something that is limited because I'm running 146.520 cross-linked into my coordinated repeater. So, and the actual rig here is acting as my half duplex 440 coordinated repeater. Half duplex means that you only transmit, then you receive. If it was a full duplex, it would transmit and receive at the same time with an ID controller. But this particular communications point is not set up that way. So, and the reason why is because this is a demonstration. And this is not going to be on the air for 30, 40 minutes. I'm just showing you this as a demonstration, but I want you to see how conveniently one radio can act as a repeater. So, this right here is this right here, and let me show you what I'm going to do with a handheld radio. I have no idea if there's anybody on 146.520, but we're going to find out. Watch the screens very carefully. WX4, PCS, Whiskey X-Ray 4, Papa Charlie Sierra, 146.520. Wait a few seconds to see if somebody comes back. What I want to show you is the 448 right here will drop down to 443.100, which will be the correct output of the 440 70 centimeter repeater. So if nobody comes back, then that's what I'm trying to show you right here. And you would see their service right here, their service signal right here that you're receiving on this side, and then this would drop down to 443.100, which would inadvertently send it to the handheld radio. Okay, now that being said, now let me show y'all how to make an actual full duplex repeater using dual band communications. Now this right here, what I showed you is literally crossband. This transmits and receives in the VHF side and the UHF side. So it's VHF, UHF. So, and by the way, this has a disc cone antenna sitting up on top. So there's nothing really a high gain. It's about 30 foot in the air. So anyway, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to show you something. With this particular radio, it is tone, get the camera fixed, tone and power button. This disengages the transmit of crossband mode. So now we're in single mode. So now I can tell this thing to go anywhere. But I don't want to do that right now because I want to show you something. If you are using this radio as a full duplex radio, you simply take out the repeater input frequency. Okay, that's what you do. Put my control frequency, my control and PTT on this side over here. Can you see? I changed this right here. See, maybe you can see that. Alright, now I have to do that there. So what did I do? That's the menu. Okay. Now this here, it is telling you where my repeater identification works. It looks better when I hold it that way. Okay, repeater ID is off. In this terminology, the repeater ID must be turned on because it is in full duplex. That's Morris. The way that I'm fixing to do this. I went the wrong way. DT hold needs to be on as well. See this repeater mode? We've got cross right here. B for transmit. That means 443-100 will be the transmitting frequency. 146.520 will be the receive frequency only. Yes, this is not the way you normally do this for the frequency choice over here on the VHF side, but because of this being international, but it works the exact same way, same terminology. The B side will only transmit and the A side will only receive. So now, okay, I come out of that. Okay, now, let me take this right here, the 443-100. Okay, 198.2, that's, okay. And you see I'm having to change the frequency. Alright, now, if I was to take my handheld radio and talk to 443-100, it will not talk back to 146.520. And this particular radio frequency is open operation to anybody that's a licensed amateur radio operator. And then anybody that talks with this frequency is coming right back out on 443-100. And at this point, since this is an international calling frequency, they do not know that they're actually coming out on 443-100 as well. That's why it's not a good idea to use this frequency as your input frequency, because this is a trans-receive frequency right here. This right here is pretty much a trans frequency. It is not a trans-receive frequency. It is an output repeater frequency. So therefore, this frequency is perfectly okay to have as your output frequency if you're coordinated for this to be your output frequency. This input frequency over here, I really should change this to a coordinated repeater input frequency, which means I would need another input frequency pair in order to be fully crossband capable. Now, if you're using this as an emergency situation, as an amateur situation for disaster relief or something like that, take two simplex frequencies and have one as your receive, have one as your transmit, and coordinate all your radio equipment to work that particular crossband repeater. Alright, now, that being said, that's how you do it, and I tried to explain to you the best way I can. Now, I did not put it in operation other than giving my call the other way. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it back to where I normally have it. So, I will do that later in other videos. But I wanted y'all to see how this particular setup is designed, because this is a full-blown repeater. This is the Kenwood TMV71A, which also has the capability to link into Echolink through a interface cable that's about $50. And if you buy that radio cable, you can link one side of your radio and put Echolink into it. Go ahead and do port forwarding on your router for Echolink. But that's a whole nother ball game. I'm just showing you what this radio will actually do. It'll do all kind of stuff. This particular radio here is for amateur radio services. Yes, it will do other communication too, but the thing about it is, it's not really recommended that you go outside the amateur band with this radio, but it will. Not all the radios like this will do this. You have to order the radio with the Mars cap in order to MERS cap, maybe MERS cap or Mars cap. I don't remember which one they call it. But this particular design was put in by Gigaparts, and that's where I've got this particular radio. So anyway, all right, y'all. That's enough for today on crossband repeat. But I'm going to show y'all some more after a while and show you just the true capability in crossband repeat capability. W Explorer PCS WQZD 787.